Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers! Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we find ourselves on the cusp of Disney's big venture into the world of streaming, even courting a war in the process, we thought it'd be nice to stay up to date on the ever-growing catalog and rule on what's a must or a bust on Disney Plus. And tonight we are talking Earth to Ned, whatever you want to call it, part two, season one, part two, volume two. I don't know, Dragon. I don't like when they break shows up like this. But we're back. It's Earth to Ned part two. Dragon, we are very behind on Earth to Ned. This came out like very beginning of the year, right? So we're almost a month behind on it.
Yes, I want to say, well, not again, the month's not over at Tiki, but we're roughly 23 days late to the party, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? It is kind of interesting, like a little serendipitous that the Muppets and the Jim Henson Company are kind of back in the headlines with the Disney Plus news. So I feel like if we couldn't cover this the week it came out, this is a good compromise to cover it when people are talking Jim Henson. Of course, we have a lot of hype for Dinosaurs, which is right around the corner. I'm excited to get to that. And then, of course, the other big Jim Henson show that's being added to Disney Plus that I feel like made hardcore Muppet fans the world over just collectively squee. But until then, let's talk some Earth to Ned, because I feel like this show is genuinely pretty damn underappreciated. Dragon, you and we have a history of liking shows with puppets that are unappreciated.
Sad but true.
But seriously, I don't really think that Disney's doing a great job of promoting this. But I do think that this is a very, very solid series. I like that it's a send up of the talk show format, but I like that it has some some kind of almost Mr. Roger-esque things to say in regards to how we connect with each other as people. And I really like how every episode is kind of an examination and riff on a different theme. As the season goes forward, I really think that the creativity involved with the scenarios on the ship get better and better, especially the last couple. So overall, I don't think this is a perfect first season by any means. I think part two overall, I would have to say there's a few more interviews that don't quite make the mark for me than there were in part one. But with that being said, there were plenty of incredible interviews. I would say, Dragon, it's safe to say Kevin Smith, probably the highlight.
It was definitely had me jazzed out of my mind when I have a funny story about it, actually, but I'll save it for my little thesis.
We got Claude Kring in the comments here. Bear in the Big Blue House is one I've definitely heard people pretty passionate about.
That one actually is a little bit of Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, and I think the original Muppet Babies very much could come to Disney Plus. I don't really see why not. Do you think Earth to... Oh, God, yes. Oh, absolutely, 100% Earth to Ned Season 1 is better than Muppets Now Season 1. Absolutely, no question. Earth to Ned actually has, things to say, and I don't know. I don't want to go back the road of negativity when it comes to Muppets Now. Dragon, what did you think of Earth to Ned Part 2?
Yeah, so on the whole, I continue to love the show. I mean, obviously, you don't have to sell me on one. It's Paul Rudd too. It's Henson puppets and Paul Rudd. What more needs to be said? I'm there. But yeah, so I said I had nothing but love for this show, and I was really here's how I discovered that there was a part two, by the way. So Kevin's the only Twitter I ever check. Secondhand is Kevin Smith's Twitter, and I saw, oh my God, he's on Earth to Ned. I'm not crazy. And then I was like, what? There's more Earth to Ned. And I go and check Disney Plus, and I mean, I would have found out eventually because
I want to shame. I want a Fozzie Bear style shame Disney Plus for not advertising this more, man. This went really super under the radar.
See, the only thing here's the thing, I probably eventually would happen upon, but only if you're really looking for something, because the only thing they advertise this thing with is the little big old banner where it's on the carousel because
It's definitely not on the carousel for me.
Well, I'm just saying like now, but I'm saying then when it was like, earlier in the month, they had, if you go through the thing, I mean, I don't know if maybe it's because of your preferences. I don't know if it's a preference thing or what.
Dragon, I watch probably more Muppet content than any other content on Disney+.
Then I don't know, okay? I don't know. All I'm telling you is that's the only advertising it has. And if you're not getting it, then clearly it's not enough, is my point. Okay? Yeah. Is that's the only advertisement they have, again, unless you're just kind of happening into it through Kevin Smith, which thankfully we did. Anyway. But yeah, I will say this. I feel in the rewatch this played a little better. I mean, I think there's still one bum episode in the batch for the second half. We'll get there. For me,
I wonder if it's the same bum episode that
it might be. It might. In your case, I'd be shocked if it wasn't the same episode. Okay, we'll see. Maybe you could surprise me. Anyway, so for me, I'd say I think the best way to watch Earth to Ned, I mean, big surprise, should be all the episodes. I think it's probably how it's going to play best, because when I did the rewatch, I watched a couple of season one, the part one episodes, a couple. Some of my favorites, like the Thomas Lennon episode, a little bit of that.
Gina Carano.
Yeah, of course, Gina Carano. Got a little bit of some of my favorites. Anyway, so we kind of got back into the groove, and then I rewatched the seasons. Like, had a really good experience with it. And again, what I do like is that the second half gets a little bit more ambitious with the format, which I can respect. I think in some cases it works better than others, but we kind of shake up the format. And, now that we've established, now we gave it 10 episodes at the start to set a precedent. Okay, this is a talk show, and now we can drift a little bit outside, get a little creative, and seemingly, if we get season 2, fingers crossed, all 4 of them. Let's get a season 2, because this ends on a cliffhanger, man. A cliffhanger. I went into the second half hoping for basically what we teased up with the cliffhanger. So I still didn't get it, but I was still overall, I was satisfied. I still wanted.
Dragon, is it bad that I care more about Ned and Cornelius mending their relationship than I do about literally Earth being invaded? Because that to me is the true cliffhanger.
I mean, it's a big cliffhanger for sure. I wanted to see Admiral Daddy. That's the thing I wanted to see. I
know.
But again, logically, here's the thing. Logically, when you think about it, it makes sense that we didn't get him in the first season, given this is just like the second half, like a 20-episode order. Because you saw how wonderfully expressive and extensive the Ned puppet is, right?
Yes. So like how big of a puppet is Ned's dad going to be?
Yeah, and plus, I mean, Ned, I hate to ruin, I hate to spoil the illusion, kids, but Ned doesn't have legs. And it's going to be hard to get another Ned who's probably bigger, as Tiki's saying here, who also probably doesn't have legs. And
I'm thinking they're going to go like the Jabba the Hutt kind of slug route with it.
Possibly. I mean, that's entirely possible. Yeah, I mean, we've never seen Ned might not even have legs for all we know.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, what I was thinking. I was thinking we were going to have kind of where Cornelius is, and now that Cornelius, again, at least for an episode, Cornelius is not going to be there probably. At least, at the very least, he won't be in his usual location. I think we're probably going to turn that space into another Ned area for his father, for Admiral Daddy.
Oh, okay, I can see that.
I mean, your guess is a better guess. I got to be honest. I didn't think why does he have to have legs? He's an alien. Why do we have to give him legs? But so it's unclear. I mean, always the cheap route they could go is like we video monitor.
I could see the Muppet. I could see maybe not the entire Muppets appearing on Earth to Ned, but definitely I could see Kermit the Frog appearing on Earth to Ned for an interview.
Well, who I want?
Made the talk show circuit before.
Well, true, but I mean, who they have? If they're going to pick a Muppet, Tiki, they got to go with Gonzo.
That's true. That's true.
Especially given the Muppets from Space of it all.
I know the Muppets from Space of it all. Don't fucking remind me of Muppets from Space.
No, I'm just saying just for the novelty. Plus Gonzo, he's also been getting around the kind of the Disney Plus interview circuit. Look at prop culture.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, but as you can probably tell by our discussion here, folks, it's a spoiler cast, so you've been warned. People will talk. You've been warned. Okay, all right, but yeah, it's my thesis. I'm still a happy camper, but I really want season 2. Seriously, Disney Plus. I know you haven't advertised it well, but don't hold that against the show. Bring it back. We need it. We really, really need it. I don't want more socially distant Muppets.
Oh God.
No more.
Shots
I
fired.
can't take it. I want more than that.
All right. Okay, so that brings us right into episode 11, Dream a Little Dream of Ned.
I love that title.
So, the theme of this episode is that Ned is experiencing dreams for the first time. He doesn't quite know what to make of them, and he's going to get his good friends Jennifer Goodwin and Alan Tudyk to help him out.
Yes. Do we want to highlight the openings for these as well, or I mean, you kind of did, so we don't need to do it right now. I'm saying in general.
Basically, with the openings, I kind of just want it just to streamline it. I kind of want to
Yeah.
just say what the theme is.
Yeah, it's fine. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So yes. See, basically, Ned's kind of questioning the kind of the reality of if reality is a dream. Was kind of the main main dream thing is kind of pondering here. He's going kind of Nolan.
Kind of going like down the Inception rabbit hole.
Yep. So he kind of brings in some help, which are his guests. Which first off is the wonderful Jennifer Goodwin, or as we should say, Jenny, or Goody Goodwin.
Oh, Goody Goodwin. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Oh,
just the name thing I thought was so cute. I love the whole celebrity, like the idea that she kind of gave away one of the secrets. Is like, hey, if you see her on the street, if you say Ginny, yeah, you're friendly, you're familiar. If you say Goody Goodwin, you went to camp with her.
So I just want to say that I think Jennifer Goodwin was a great choice for however they decided to break. I don't know like how far into the creative process they decided to break this up into 2 volumes, but she's a great choice for like a first guest on the return. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Tiki, smart money is they shot 20 episodes, and they probably, I mean, I just given Disney Plus's format, they've only been presenting up to 10 episodes, so they probably knew like there was going to be a break at some point. They probably ended on the musical on purpose. But I think it's intentional.
All right. So yeah,
But yeah,
I just think Jennifer Goodwin just kind of like oozes personality and charm. She is very much my favorite type of guest on this show, which is the guest that just absolutely fucking rolls with it.
yeah, seriously, I thought we started really strong. This episode was a strong start. I really did like this one. Of course, I love our latter guest, but Jennifer Goodwin, she's so darn pleasant, man. She's so nice. So basically, kind of her. I love now. This is a really good thing we do here. I mean, we did it in the first half, but we really kind of try to structure things a little bit more in the second half, at least for the most part, where we kind of the guest tangentially is picked for a reason, even if it's not like full. Like they're like obviously Jennifer Goodwin, no Sigmund Freud. She's not about dream analysis per se, but she's relating, kind of dreams to kind of like dream roles and kind of dreaming as like a theater of the mind, which relates to the acting. You see, there's kind of a little connecting dot sort of thing with these guests, which I like. Of course, bringing up Shakespeare, Cornelius doing his little bit of Shakespeare, which kind of connects to her going to the fancy dramatic arts school
Okay,
in
can
London.
I just say, like, I'm just gonna call it right now. I feel like Cornelius is the best character on the show.
Cornelius is great.
I mean, we all love Paul Rugg. I love Paul Rugg. You love Paul Rugg. We love us a Paul Rugg dragon. Make no mistake.
Yes.
But I feel like just in terms of the actual writing and execution of the jokes and everything, and like how layered and complex he is, I really think Cornelius is the MVP of the series. I really do. Like he is the. I feel like just in terms of like the layers and dimension they give him, I'm very invested into him.
Yeah, the thing that we do with Cornelius, see, we even started here and we kind of develop it as it goes forward. It's like a little seed that's planted. Is that we kind of I watched the first episode and did my kind of my selective rewatch before the second half, and we mentioned at the top, and we really make it mean something here. Is that Cornelius's planet? Ned, not Ned specifically, but Ned's fleet. They destroyed Cornelius's planet.
Yeah.
As loved ones, and we have kind of hilariously, we kind of remind like, what would it be like if his planet wasn't there? My family's it could be alive. No, that was a simulation. Cornelius, like, oh, so again,
I mean,
we're making light of it.
There's just a ton of like great Cornelius humor where he's very meta, very like kind of existential in some areas.
Yeah, he knows great. He knows Shakespeare. He's kind of Cornelius. And also, we learned through the next episode. Cornelius is a very active life off the episodes.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway, so with Goodwin, one last thing. I love the whole Judy Hopps thing, which we learned one of the alternate voices they used was like a Tennessee, like really southerny kind of like voice. And I love her favorite things to do the Judy Hopps grunt, which is adorable. Like the. Oh, seriously, Jennifer Goodwin, wonderful. And of course, seriously, I'd love her on Once Upon a Time. You glimpsed that as well, Tiki. I mean, she's great in that show.
I got a glimpse of it. Yes.
All right, so we do some brain scans, Rick and Morty style kind of glimpses of a potential end of the series with an earthquake, which is really, again, if we saw Ned die, folks, that was scary. Like, no!
Oh, God.
Anyway, so of course, let's see. Cornelius briefly visits a therapist. He's kind of diagnosed with extreme passivity.
Now, this is like kind of like the start of like just when Cornelius is like starting to get help and like, like real world advice and like some sort of like existential connection. He just gets beamed right back onto the ship.
Well, again, yeah. Remember, he had to get beamed out there because the therapist warned him. Well, you say you're going to destroy the plant. I'm duty bound to report any harm to yourself or others. Later on, though, the running gag. Every time something big's about to happen to him, he does get beamed out. Though, this is running gag everywhere else. So, Alan Tudyk, my man. I love Alan Tudyk.
You know what movie they showed in his montage that I completely forgot he was in it?
You forgot Dodgeball, didn't you?
Dodgeball, yes.
Yeah, Steve the Pirate.
Fucking Dodgeball.
I love. He was so great in that role too.
We need to talk about Dodgeball, man.
I know. I can't. We don't have a precedent, but I too would like to talk about Dodgeball. But yes, he also had a really nice emotional bit in that movie too, where again he had the whole identity crisis thing.
Yeah. I know. I remember.
Oh, okay. But seriously, Alan Tudyk, I love him. Seriously, he's my pick for a live action joke. I love. They even teed it up here. They reference he played a clown. They couldn't say it by name, but they said Clown Prince of Crime. So yeah, for Harley Quinn, wrong show for the Harley Quinn series.
Mm-hmm.
But seriously, if they ever do a live action Joker, like to go for like verisimilitudes, if we're gonna cast him as authentically as possible, he is my pick for like a definitive Joker in live action. I want him to be the Joker in live action. Anyway, but seriously, they mentioned his show comes on this week. I actually think it comes on tonight. Resident Alien on Sci-Fi, which is so ironic given he plays in the end. It looks a little similar to Ned, which is hilarious. I'm looking forward to watching that show, by the way.
It's like a connected universe.
But again, we had the kind of had the nexus here. Can he do the dorsal flap thing? Like, oh no, I guess not.
Right. Also, can I just say with the puppeteering and Ned and kind of like the biology of him and everything, they do a great job of expanding on that as we go forward.
Yeah.
Like the shedding the whatever the flakes, the stress flakes or whatever they are. All right.
Let's stress.
Yeah. Anything else in this episode?
Well, we got to talk about the multiple. Okay, so after Alan Tudyk talks about how he came up with the King Candy voice, which is like an homage to Edwin, which again, it's one of my favorite little factoids about Wreck-It Ralph. But we have these fun simulations. So again, we're kind of changing. Instead of having him play a game, we have these simulations that we kind of teed up with the brain scans. Like, what would happen? What other ways could this interview have gone? Then we have like these three hilarious little glimpses. One is when they try to kill each other.
Oh God!
You remember why they try to kill each other?
No.
So Alan Tudyk is eating mayonnaise. He's eating Ned's favorite mayonnaise. Hey, it's my mayonnaise. Then why did you give it to him? He's trying to strangle Ned, and Cornelius is biting him. We have the horrified reactions and like to them. They had a decent interview. It's like, oh my, I don't even like mayonnaise. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened there. Thank goodness it didn't go that way. And then we have like the next one, which is them having like a party, like it's the end of it's 1999. That's later. They're having a big old party. Like, Alan, we should start a band. They're having a great time. Then we have the Elseworlds tale, man. Then we have the one where what if the Earth got destroyed? Now Alan Tudyk was the Cornelius sidekick.
God. We do some really fun kind of like alternate reality stuff. Of course, Ben Schwartz coming up.
Oh, we'll get there. Yeah. It's my favorites. We'll get there. All right, but of course we have like one really great one. Well, he had the one buttock line. Like Ned, apparently Ned only has one buttock, which means I guess he can't be a Jabba then. He only has one. He has one buttock. It's like a donut but no jelly. Great improv, of course, very highly improvised. Great stuff there. All right, okay. So after like Nightmare Coda, like Cornelius, without his vest on, which is horrifying. We get to episode 2.
All right, this is one of the 2 ones where I'm not really feeling it.
This is not the problem one I have. I think this one's okay. It's not a big old. Here's the thing. I love the first guest. I love Tiki.
Really?
Let me be clear. I love them. I like them both. I love the first guest, but I'm just saying I like the actress mainly.
Okay,
You've seen her.
I've seen her. I know who she is, but honestly, Dragon, I mean, it might just be the writing around it. But like, here's the thing with this show, and I feel like they try to go for this type of guest less often than they try to go for like the down to clown type of guest. But Darcy got like her interactions with Ned just felt very passive aggressive on either side. Honestly, it was weird. Like it kind of reminded me of like what Evan was trying to pitch with his with Tommy Lee Jones being on Earth to Ned. I don't know. Like, did you get that vibe? I just like the whole time she didn't have the same sort of like enthusiasm for being there that a lot of other people do.
No, I didn't have that at all, Tiki. I mean, the main reason
Really?
she's here is for her role in The Good Place, which is why she has such a great rapport with Betty. That makes all the sense in the world because Betty is Jan is like an artificial intelligence, but she's very presented really smartly. And that's why Betty and her they're like gal pals, which I love. It's like you represented our kind very accurately. And no, seriously, I didn't get that at all, Tiki. She
That's
seemed
interesting.
I didn't get the Tommy Lee Jones thing at all here. With it. I feel she was maybe with some other guest, but with her, I felt I think we're teeing up the finale with this episode with her. Honestly, I think she was kind of teeing up like Ned needs to show a little more humility, which definitely kind of got off the rails by the finale, which is kind of like I think it was kind of planting a little seed there for him.
Okay.
And again, the whole point, okay, so the lesson of the episode too, and the whole thing of the episode is that we're kind of doing the Oscars, but the Neddies, giving out awards.
This is also, I'm just going to put a flag in this conversation with this episode. I feel like Ned's ego, like, yeah, that's definitely a major part of his character. I feel like in certain parts of this season and this episode, probably like in particular, we're kind of skating on thin ice in terms of like likability versus ego.
I agree with you fully, Tiki. It's just the only thing I have to kind of factor in there is that again, it is part of the lesson of the episode. But you're right, though. It does. We go right up to the line with it here, and maybe we go up to the line. But again, it's for the purpose of the arc.
All right.
Anyway, so also I love the fact that she met her husband in Disneyland, which is like, oh man, I never knew that.
That is adorable. That is adorable.
It is. So basically, with the guests are brought in as presenters that also kind of surprise recipients for said awards, and I love this gag where so Ned is ticked off that she got his award, and he's just playing her off like la 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 la. It's just like, what? I think he's playing you off, and then she's like, she gives her little speech, "It's free the Claudes. I know political statements." So Cornelius takes an acting class, and this was hysterical.
Yeah, this was fun. This was one of the better Cornelius bits.
Given that the show is like an homage to is a wonderful nod to the whole puppet up and the whole improving with puppets idea. The idea that Cornelius is making every acting class mistake ever. The oldest acting class mistake, especially improv, is every guy on their first time is probably going to insert the "I've been shot" or "I got a gun" thing. Because when you're out, you want something to do. You want something that shakes up the scene. It's never a good idea. At least I've been shot. There's any scene like, "Oh, Julie, I don't think the baby's going to make it. I've been shot." And then he learns to share the limelight, and he has this big Mark Antony Caesar speech, and he learns.
Yep.
Like the Claude in memoriam, and then we get Oliver Hudson.
Oliver Hudson was okay. His interview didn't really stick out to me all that much. I thought it was fine.
One thing that stood out about Oliver Hudson wonderfully is that he and Cornelius are buddies.
That's true. That's true.
They've gone like whale surfing, and oh god, they're ridden whales together, and like they're going to like the after party, and Ned's insanely jealous. I'm like, why are you buddies? I can tell you, Ned's dynamic with Oliver Hudson was kind of fun. Where Oliver Hudson's trying to, he's asked about his celebrity family, which is the big thing with Oliver Hudson. He comes from good stock celebrity was, but again, good parents too. Kurt Russell wasn't his birth father, but he kind of became his surrogate father in all the right ways. And it's anyway. So that's kind of fun, like him downplaying the celebrity, and Ned's just like, you were in that movie? No, that was actually Kurt Russell. That was my sister, Kate Hudson. It's a nice little, funny lesson. Anyway, Goldie Who when he's getting the award, that's pretty funny too. All right.
Okay,
ultimately, Ned gets the best boss award. That's kind of nice. That's a nice little resolution there. Ned gets an award that the crew made him because he kind of got him to their success. Yes, that brings the third episode.
All right, Transcendental Meditation. This is an interesting episode with the meditation angle. That's pretty much the main theme, right?
Yeah, stress relief.
So we start with Yvette and Nicole Brown, and I don't know that much about her, but she seemed like a pretty relaxed guest. Had a good rapport with Ned.
You remember her from her Nickelodeon show, don't you?
Do I?
Yes, you do.
What Nickelodeon show?
Drake and Josh.
Drake and Josh was like, that was when I fell off of Nickelodeon.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I don't have Drake and Josh nostalgia, and I feel bad. A lot of people in my general demographic do.
Yeah,
but
she
I'm
was really
old
funny
enough to have that cutoff where the Amanda Show was the last big live action thing that I watched on Nick.
I mean, the main show they kind of tee up here, she's from Community. That's a big one for her. That kind of puts her in the cameo.
That's kind of like where I've seen her face before is Community, yeah.
She pops up in a lot of TV, being the idea. Community's a big thing. She popped up in Endgame for a cameo because, again, the Russos directed Community. She's the Disney reason she's here is Lady and the Tramp. And again, she really has this really hilarious character on Drake and Josh. She played Josh's boss at the movie theater who loved his brother, but not so. Like, she loved Drake. She worshipped. She loved Drake, but just Josh. Oh, I don't like you, silly boy.
That's
always talk down the.
That sounds good. Oh god.
She was hilarious. Anyway. But yeah, so she's she was in the Odd Couple remake. And the point being, she's good. Anyway, I love the guest in the Water Runner, where sometimes we offer the guests like Raven Simone and Yvette Nicole Brown water, and like, hey, it's sparkling water, which just has a bunch of glitter dumped into it. Like, no, thank you. And Ned's stressed that he's trying to pass what is a stress pellet, which essentially looks like a green glowing hockey puck. And he's so stressed that he's drinking from like a tube. He's drinking bean juice.
The tube! Oh my god, the tube was amazing.
Which, I mean, gotta imagine they have to give him a tongue for that too. They have to retrofit him.
Like usually, just the scale of it. Oh my! Like, I wonder if some of those shots they use like a smaller puppet and like superimpose the person on the couch or what? Because the scale of it is just super impressive.
It is. I think it's a big prop. I don't think they. I mean, you might be right, Tiki. I don't know how they did. I think it's a big prop. Either that. I mean, the only thing I can imagine if they're scaling anything, they probably if they're they might use the forced perspective on the bottle. They might use forced perspective on something. I don't know. I can't tell you. Anyway,
I think that is honestly one of my favorite gags in the whole season. Just because, like, it's character based, it builds the character. It's visually very striking and impressive from like a puppeteering standpoint, and I just think it's straight up fucking really funny.
Yeah, a couple things from Claude here in the comments. Claudia says, hopefully Paul Rugg will join the Animaniacs in 2020. Join Animaniacs 2020. Obviously, 2020's passed. But yes, hopefully, at the very least, hopefully they'll have the foresight to sorry, Paul, we edged you out of that Animaniacs show. Let's give you your own Freakazoid show, man. Let's do that.
Oh my god, that's what we want, right?
That is what we want. Yes. Anyway, also she was in Victorious as executive. All right. So basically, I like the rapport she has with Ned. Like, she and Ned kind of become fast friends, which is kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
You like the whole like visualization kind of breathing exercises. They have some inner monologue gags, and Cornelius, meanwhile, he gets beamed down, and he gets to use the rage room.
Yeah, I really like this just conceptually. I feel like this would be genuinely pretty therapeutic.
Very cathartic. You've seen one of these things before, right?
Dragon, in some ways, I work in one of these things.
Well, I mean, a place where you can actually break the things without
No, no, no.
having.
I'm saying like we get a lot of stuff that's like not up to par with the level of quality that we sell. And guess what we get to do with them? Just throw them in the dumpster. And a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll just like just literally like do what they're doing here. Just like throw it to get the best like glass breaking impact that I can.
Hmm.
And it is genuinely like it releases those damn endorphins, man.
Yeah, I saw one of these in. I actually saw one of these rooms in Working Moms on Netflix. It was
Oh,
like,
okay. Yeah, no, I haven't come across one. Like, this is the first time I've seen one, actually. But, yeah, I like the concept, though. I
yeah,
dig it.
of
Like,
course.
if one of them came to my hometown, I'd probably use it semi-regularly.
Of course, we're teeing up, Cornelius's frustrations with Ned. So again, I like that we're building towards that finale here. He's really frustrated with Ned. The Ned's also we're also teeing up Ned's inferiority at not destroying the plan, which is also going to pay off by the finale as well. That's why Ned is stressed out, and then Cornelius is frustrated with Ned just not seeing things clearly.
Uh, all right,
All
and
right,
then that leads us into Jack McBrayer, who
yeah.
I just, oh my God. He was easily one of the best guests of the season, I think.
Oh, so you really like Murray? I mean, I like him too. I'm just saying, I think I like the next episode's guest a little bit more. Why?
Well,
Why is it?
yes, Dragon, the next episode's guest is of a certain caliber, yes.
Oh, sure, but I'm asking, like, what's the big draw for McBrayer for
I
you?
just genuinely think McBrayer just has this like overall enthusiasm factor for being on the show that I just attach to with these guests. Like I said, I feel like the more enthused that the guest is to actually be there, the more I like it. And so with McBrayer, I don't know. I just think that him and Ned had a great rapport. I just really think he's a great personality. He's just so bubbly and I just think he was a great fit for the show. I don't know. It's nothing like deep or anything, but I just think the chemistry was there and he got into the themes really well.
Yeah, I love that we point out that Cornelius relates to his character on 30 Rock, which is really funny. The beleaguered assistant.
Right,
And,
right.
and fun fact, as I kind of mentioned here, is that Jack McBrayer and Tina Fey, they actually have improv roots. They met in like, one of the improv classes, which
Uh,
also parallels how Paul Rudd got into the Animaniacs with kind of the tiny
yeah,
toon
yeah,
Animaniacs.
exactly, exactly. And I kind of saw the improv roots as well. I made that connection as well. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I just think just conceptually it was a really good pick.
yep. And of course, basically we kind of go through like vacation as his advice for how you diffuse the stress. Well, also, by the way,
I
during
hear
this,
that. I hear that, Jack. I'm totally on board.
we have like this game like resorts or perfume, which is really funny.
That was a great game.
Okay, now we introduced a new aspect of the show with this episode. We introduced Ned Knows, which is like the little PSAs. So we have like these vacation fact.
Oh God.
Uh,
Okay. Oh God. Remind me of the little slogan at the end of
I know
it.
I was about to get there. Okay, so the slogan at the end is "Remember to fill your brain
Oh
bucket."
my God.
I don't know if I got the musical tune right on that, but that's what it is. Remember to fill
Remember
your
to
brain
fill
bucket.
your brain bucket.
Remember to fill your brain bucket.
Oh my, that is just inherently
I
just
keep singing it like
fun
the end of The
shit right
Simpsons, which
there,
I don't
dude.
think is right. I keep doing the da 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 da. Anyway, but yeah, so that's fun. Also, when Ned keeps passing these stress pills hilariously. He's coughing out these little green glowing
I
hockey
love I
pucks.
love just the prop work on it.
Yeah. All right, so that brings us to episode. Oh, that brings us to the big one. Here we
Party
go.
like it's 1990 Ned, baby.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is the one I showed up for, folks. This is one of my favorites with the second half.
I,
Yeah,
so the thing with Kevin Smith is that I feel like He's kind of the best of both worlds. He is, I think, the best guest of the entirety of the 20 episodes. Would you say so?
Yes, I would say so. Yeah.
So first of all, I just love that he's in the middle of fucking brushing his teeth of all things.
Yep.
And just the screams are perfect.
It was the panic. Like, none of the other guests have had like necessarily like a screaming fit like Kevin Smith.
Right. It's just such a good choice on his part. And the thing I really like about the interview is that I like how it's like Kevin Smith is kind of there laying out like some real world advice. You know what I mean? He's kind of like the old sage at this point in his career.
As is
He's
his
like, let
signature
me tell
style.
you that's how it is, man. Back in the '90s, let me tell you how it was.
Yep, of course, big fan of Kevin Smith. He's my guy. So when he showed up again, as I mentioned at the top, he's the reason I'm showing up. I knew about the season first of all, but yeah, Ned's getting caught up on the '90s, and who better to take someone under his wing than Kevin Smith? I mean, come on. The Quiet Bob gag's really funny.
Yes. I love when Kevin Smith calls Ned out on like, well, if you want to be like any other of my critics who have ever reviewed my work, then sure, Quiet Bob.
Kevin Smith is so perfect at the interview improvisation. That's he's so wonderful at. So he was like perfect for this.
Absolutely.
I love like the gag with Betty where it's like he says, "Betty, take this down," and of course Kevin's saying, "No, you don't. Hey, Betty, listen. You don't have to do this. Wait, is that called feminism? Is that wrong? No, I like it." We have this wonderful kinship with kind of a. I love that Kevin and Ned have a wonderful kinship with their mutual love and fascination with pop culture, which again makes Kevin Smith the absolute perfect guest for this show. And we ask him the big questions: Star Wars and Marvel, and he makes the right choice. He goes to Marvel because he reminds him of going to the movies with his papa.
I feel that.
Old Don Smith. And then we talk reboots, which then cues up probably the funniest thing of the episode. As much as I love the Kevin Smith stuff.
Gag, yes. Oh my god.
So Kevin Smith always pulls out this wonderful quote. I don't know. I think it's from. I don't know if it's from the Sandman or what. I don't know what this quote's from per se. But anyway, so Kevin Smith pulls like in question like, "Will you think Earth and L ever be rebooted like Jay and Silent Bob reboots?" Again, by the time they're shooting this, especially you can tell by the purple jacket, Kevin Smith was on tour promoting, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. So they kind of shoot this like 2019, presumably. When that anyway. So he says, they have this always payoff to "You'll reign for 10,000 years amongst the stars," which sounds so wonderful, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound nice? Ned's not sure about this, so he sends Cornelius into the future 10,000 years later. And what does he find?
Oh, God. And this is where we get our first taste of old man Cornelius.
Yes.
That we're going to return to later.
Yes. Back to the Future. That's an 80s reference.
Oh, I just love that Cornelius is this character that his life is so pathetic that like the fabric of time and space is like bending to him having a pathetic life.
Of course, now he's completely bent over to the name Corny. You know what I like? I like it when you call me Corny.
Oh god, and of course Ben Schwartz, man. I mean, but I really hope if there's a season 2, they keep that runner going.
I want to keep it going too, and you know what, Tiki? See, I also have a distaste for Ben Schwartz.
Do you? I don't dislike him. I don't.
Well, let me be clear.
Great.
Okay, let me be clear. So Ben Schwartz, I mean, I don't have a full on kind of hatred for the guy or anything, but it's just because I mean, he seemed pleasant in that Sonic trailer. My problem is like there's a show I watched and he was in. I detested the character he played. So it just feels like Ben Schwartz laying every bad comic instinct he has on this one show. So I grew a great distaste for him, where I just couldn't stand him. So I kind of got where Ned was coming from. Like, oh, Ben Schwartz is Ned. He's wearing the Ned hat and he has like the 2 fake arms behind his arms. Oh god, so that was really fun. And also, before we move on from Kevin Smith, too, we got to mention like the great Kevin Smith had a wonderful exit.
Oh god!
So as Kevin Smith was leaving, it was just like, wait, that's it? You're not gonna? No, you can stay if you want. No, I thought we were friends. We're not real friends, are we? And then we just have this hysterically improvised bit, and it's so wonderful. Where Ned's Kevin, look at me, not like this, Kevin.
Oh god. Oh god.
And then in makeup, where Kevin like he extends the hand, they shakes the little, he shakes Ned's hand, and they disappear. Oh, it's wonderful. There was an arc there, man. It was really nice. Oh,
Right.
so
So
Kevin Smith is
I feel bad for the next guest just because it's like she's nice enough. She's got some interesting points, but it's no Kevin Smith. Aisha Tyler.
She's a good pick though, because I mean, you know what? She hosted the Boys after show for on Amazon. She's really into. She's kind of almost becoming kind of a new Kevin Smith in terms of the after
I
show
could see
stuff.
that. I could see that working well for her. Yeah.
She's on her
Yeah.
way. She did a really good job hosting that thing, man.
Uh-huh.
She was, and of course, she's really funny too. She's on Archer. She's hysterical on Archer at playing Lana Kane. So she's good stock, and obviously has Friends roots, hence the '90s. So, but yeah, so I didn't know she was getting into directing though. That was kind of a little bit of a news flash, kind of connecting her to Kevin Smith a little bit there. It's kind of nice. Yeah, I love her really dry sense of humor. I think played off of Ned really well. Remember, she's like, "I'm already dead inside." Like, oh, what is that like? The sardonic comedy was kind of nice. Pretty much. Not a whole lot to kind of write home about, but you know, let's see. And the horse. Ned has pizza at the end. Cowabunga! Worked in all the '90s lingo and everything. There's a lot of great '90s isms in this episode. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the '90s is a pretty easy theme to explore. It's not nearly as existential as a lot of the other themes they tackle, but I feel like they do a really good job of, you know, sort of exploring the different facets of the subject when it comes to the '90s.
I like the big moral at the end, though. The moral of like the '90s is that the end of 1999 essentially is it's kind of it's kind of creation versus destruction. It's kind of like we're getting to the end of like we're on the ball of the millennium, so to speak. We're kind of building something. That's kind of what the '90s was about. It was kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
All right. Next up, Alien versus Nedditor.
Yes. Reminds me of that Freakazoid episode with Nerdator, which was like a parody of. Anyway.
So this episode had we'll start with Sherry Shepherd, but this episode had my most anticipated guest of the season, even outside of Kevin Smith, Dragon.
Oh yeah, I forgot it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I knew Kevin Smith was coming, but I was looking forward to these two even more. But let's start with Sherry Shepherd.
Yeah, real quick, I love the top. Or I love the transition from the '90s episode because we name dropped the X Files, and now we do the opening about the X Files. Or it's like, sir, that's trademarked. You can't say he's about to say the thing. Like the truth is out there. And it's just like
technically, X Files is a Fox show, so
I know.
They can do whatever the hell they want with the X Files.
They don't know they're on Disney.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, the facts are present in other places. Really funny. So
all right, so this
hilarious.
episode's all about conspiracy theories. Thank God this show wasn't filmed a couple years ago, or else they probably would have had Shane Dawson on, and that would have aged like fucking milk.
So it's so hilarious that opening too is really funny. This alien believes in the pyramid theory.
Right.
And of course, then we have like who's like Cornelius and Betty asking, "Who's they?" The aliens. But sir, we're the aliens. Are we? Anyways, it's pretty funny. Anyway, yeah. So Sherry Shepherd.
All right, so Sherry Shepherd. I really like how she gets into the conspiracy theory thing very quickly. I wonder if they picked her because they knew she was genuinely into that kind of stuff.
Well, here's the thing. I know her from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay.
Yeah, she played Robert's part.
Careful talking about that show.
All right. I'll keep it brief.
No, I'm like somewhat kidding. I am like
I know. The point being, she played Robert's partner, so she played Sergeant Judy on the show. She was his partner, and she was really funny. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what her. She just seems like a really kind of like open person. I think that's kind of maybe it's somewhat founded. I'm not sure, but I think it's just kind of like a fun pull. Like she has good rapport with people. Maybe that's why she was picked, but I don't know. But yeah, so Ned's trying to connect all these theories, and we have like this running gag. Remember, like the little game they play. Remember what the phrases?
I remember they played the game. I don't remember the phrase exactly.
New conspiracy. They're basically making stuff up and like these ridiculous. Conspiracies like the Illuminati created aluminum foil. New conspiracy.
I like how impressed Cornelius is with that. Hey, yeah, we need aluminum foil.
Cornelius had a really funny line where the lights go out when they do this new conspiracy thing, and I love Ned trying to connect all the conspiracies like with cheese and everything. It's just really funny. Where Cornelius says, "It's too dark. I can't hear." It's silly. It shouldn't work. And like baby carrots are actually suffering from have Ben Button disease. Anyway, anyway, so Sherry Shepherd not a lot to write home about, but she was fine. Nothing wrong there. Cornelius, he's disguised as in Groucho glasses in like a coffee place, trying to blend in. They all know who he is, but they all accept him as an alien. You're a paying customer, of course you're valuable.
Again, kind of building to the family thing of it all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Tiki, big moment.
Yeah, Penn and Teller, man, absolutely. These guys would have been on my bucket list of guests for sure for this show, and they nailed it. So what I like about this is that it's kind of like half them doing the magic trick and then half them explaining how the magic trick's done, and that kind of frames the interview. Of course, I love that. I gotta tell you, man, they like. Do you think that it was like agreed upon? Like, all right, guys, just don't ask Teller to talk. All right, he's not going to do it.
I think they do review before they do the episodes, they do figure out like they do formulate ideas based on the guests. So I'm sure that idea had to have come across. The question is, did they figure it out in the room before they went to the guest?
I thought what was going to happen was that Ned was going to start grilling Teller, like, "Hey, what's this little guy? Come on, like, why aren't you answering my questions?" But no, they didn't touch. Like, I guess the thing with that, I feel like, is that Penn and Teller is such an iconic act that it kind of just goes without saying that Teller is the silent one.
We did have what we did close to this was that we kind of cut the Teller a couple times during the interview, seeing him react to the clods and stuff.
Yes. And
that's as close as we got to it. I mean, I would have imagined like a I don't imagine Ned would like leaned on it entirely, but I think he would have brought it up once and then dropped it. But I think they'd made like a call. Well, you know what? Let's not put him in a corner like that. Let's just. But yeah, Penn and Teller have been doing kind of their shtick of late, which is basically kind of committing to the whole magic act where they're going to perform it. They have a very transparent magic act where they're very and as Penn Jillette kind of goes through here, he kind of talks about the inspiration for the duo, which is kind of an anti kind of lying philosophy, where lying ties in the constructs of society for sure, and of course the lying philosophy ties into the conspiracy theme of the show. You know, well they're kind of anti-conspiracy because they're just going to lay it out for you.
Yeah, I like you said, I really just think that they fit the theme really, really well. They fit it like right on the head. And honestly, like Penn and Teller, they're the type of guest. This is kind of what I dig about their act in general, where you can insert them into practically any sort of situation and they just kind of feel like they fit.
Yeah, did you see the Scooby-Doo episode with them?
No, but that sounds amazing.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still available on Amazon or not, but it might be.
I need to seek that out.
Anyway, I like the foil with the whole cups and bowls routine with the foil. They have it connects the little foil like new conspiracy thing from earlier, a little bit of the connective tissue, and of course, again, the irony being that Penn and Teller, they don't believe in conspiracies, yet they are an absolute great pull for this interview, given that philosophy. It's like perfect irony of like, yes, get these guys, they don't buy into conspiracies at all. What did you think about the Scabracadabra joke?
I think maybe they drew it out a little too long. I don't know. It was pretty cringe.
It was a bad joke, but that's the point, though. All right.
Also, I just want to point out one of my favorite times that Teller actually did talk, which was on The Simpsons. It's basically like Penn has gone a little stir crazy, and Teller is like warning The Simpsons, like, "Get out now while you still can. I'm not the first Teller."
See, here's the thing. I have a different Matt Groening. It is Matt Groening, right? Not
Groening, yes, not
Groening. I know, because I always think it's like the other way. I kind of have to stop myself. It's Matt Groening.
They literally did a joke where Milhouse asks Matt Groening for an autograph, and he's like, "Will you sign my drawing, Mr. Groening?"
Anyway, I've always the Futurama reference with Penn and Teller. Remember that one?
Vaguely.
Okay, so essentially, Penn's given his big old voice, which, by the way, folks, a little Disney connectivity. He's the voice of the guy doing the Buzz Lightyear commercial in Toy Story. He's the guy doing listening out like it glows in the dark, but not a flying
Yeah,
toy.
yeah.
That's him. Anyway, but in the Futurama guy, he's doing an announcing bit somewhere, and Teller, he's just dead in the jar. He died
Oh
into the show. He's like floated to the top of the
God.
jar.
Oh
Really
God.
dark, but I was saying, oh, that's the one I think of. I haven't seen the Simpsons one.
The,
So.
the Simpsons joke is also very dark because it's implied that he's killed multiple tellers.
Oh god. All right. Anyway,
All
that
right.
brings us to the next episode.
Okay. Okay. Ned over heels.
Okay.
Dragon, is this the one that you're not fond of?
This is the one I'm not fond of.
This is pretty super duper cringe.
Was this the one you also were not fond of?
Yes, this
Okay.
and the Netties. For some reason, we disagreed on the Netties, and
I
that's
still
fine.
disagree with you on the netties. I agree it's like not Ned's best color, but I think it's a lot better than what we get here.
But yeah, this one, I don't know. I could have gone without this one pretty
Not
much
all
all
can be a
the way
slam
around.
dunk. I mean, again, where's our elaborate Henson level puppet show? It's non-existent, so we can't judge it too harshly. It's like,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, look, it's for me, it's an episode. I mean, it's not like the worst thing I've ever seen by any stretch. I mean, it's no
I,
okie
I
dokie
get what
cooking.
they were going for with the Allison Hannigan thing, but I felt genuinely kind of uncomfortable.
It got cringy, yes. I don't like cringy.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, look, I mean, I get to be fair to give the points where points are due with the Allison Hannigan thing. We have a good moral about how to handle it, which I did appreciate. The whole they kind of like accepts the friendship thing. You've been after he's been friend zoned, like okay, well I got friends. We have pizza bagels because we're friends now.
God.
And again, that's what I'm saying. We handled it well, but we dragged on getting there a little bit. Like we kept. I don't think we need to do like the whole hand touch thing as much as we did. That was the problem for me. We just kept doing it. We know it's not going to end. She mentions earlier, like, oh, my husband would not. We learned that she has a husband. That's the more Ned. It's romantic kind of like it gets clipped there. It's just it's not going to go well.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest with you. To me, the whole thing kind of felt just a little below average when it comes to the show, like all around. I thought the Cornelius speed dating thing was again just kind of a little cringy.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been funny if they actually went somewhere with it, if it was actually going well for him. That would have been hysterical, but basically Ned just, again, complaining about Ned every time.
I honestly think that they could have gone in the direction where it does go well with him, just because, again, that would build up more to where he's getting more satisfaction from the cutaway bits than he is actually being on the show.
Yes, and you know what else would have worked about that too? In the future thing, when Cornelius meets old Cornelius, and old Cornelius warns him, listen, I don't have a lot of time. Don't let her go.
Oh
Oh,
God!
that's when he gets beamed out of there. What if the speed dating was like the little nod to, but he gets beamed out just as he meets Mrs. Wright.
Oh God! Seriously, old man Cornelius just has some really funny, just dark existential bits.
He does later. Oh, later on, he has like the ultimate bit. He does. Okay. Also, one good gag we did have here though is the whole we call back Ben Schwartz. Yeah, I did Flora and Ulysses with Ben Schwartz. Ben Schwartz. His name is forever banished through the kingdoms of space. Oh, it's funny.
Honestly, Ben Feldman is maybe the most middle of the road guest of the second half of the season. He's
I
just kind
feel
of there. He's
I feel
fine.
like if I watched Superstore, I might have liked him more, but
Uh huh.
there's like a romantic tension in that show. Therefore, Ben
No,
Feldman.
like really nothing against him, but like
Yeah,
he
yeah, sure.
just really didn't stand out from the pack at all.
I mean, let's face it. The Ben Feldman show basically have like dating profile jokes, most of which, I mean, until we see Ned with the dog, I mean, that's kind of cute. Like Paul Rudd always doing like the fun Poochie kind of the fun Poochie nicknames, like who's a little stoopy head.
I
Stuff
also
like that.
wasn't a fan of the Claudes going catfishing either. I thought that was a pretty played out
I mean,
joke as
given the
well.
fact they kind of look like catfish, that's kind of funny. But you're right. It's weak sauce. Yeah.
So yeah, overall, I would say this is definitely
Yeah.
probably the biggest misfire of the season.
I would agree 100%, Tiki. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Anyways, not dwelling on the negative, let's get to
Here's
one
a
of my
big
favorite
improvement.
subjects, which is Ned versus food.
This was a lot of fun. What did you think?
Oh, I really like this one. Of course, it's like myself being a foodie, I was all over it.
I knew you'd like this one.
Roy Choi, he popped up on Muppets Now, right?
Tiki, I didn't check, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he popped up
I'm
on.
pretty sure because he had the interesting story in that it was one of the early chef misfires, and we had like him being interesting, but we kind of kept cutting back. Roy kept cutting back to Swedish Chef, and which did not help.
So I really think that this guy is like making the rounds, and I like him quite a bit. I like his story. I like his attitude.
I love the idea that, according to him, this is his first interview, which I thought was so charming.
Uh huh.
I like to think that's absolutely true. I mean, it could, and by the time it times out, maybe he had done an interview before this, but it seems like this might have been like his first talk show appearance, which is like good for Roy Choi, man. I gotta tell you, I'm not a foodie at all, folks, but I'm an animated foodie, if anything. But because I love food and animation.
Bacon and eggs, Dragon.
I know. More examples. We don't have time for it.
Oh God.
Anyway, Ratatouille, we're going to be here all day. Anyway, but here's the name, Roy Choi. Actually, I was really engrossed in the story. He had a very kind of chef-esque story. Literally paralleled kind of the story of Chef, where he's, he mentions again. We're not given much, but my heart went out to poor Roy. What he's like, I messed up, and I was messed up, and I was let go, and I was fired, and I kind of got a food truck, and I was making food. Like, good for him. Mm-hmm. Well, good for Roy. Went on a journey. Went on a very Favreau-esque journey. I support this. So, of course, also even Ned, even people in space love Emerald, Tiki. They love Emerald.
Oh my God! Yes. Oh, Dragon. For a second there, I was considering changing my Disney debates answer to Emerald in terms of like who should come on to Earth to Ned, because I can't even tell you, Dragon. Emerald just kind of strikes this like nostalgic soft spot for me. He is like the ultimate comfort food TV chef.
If Family Guy were good, I would love to see the gag where we go to the Wizard of Oz and Emerald has a restaurant in
or it's literally just, instead of the Emerald City, it's just Emerald City.
Yeah. What if we never did a parody just in something better than Family Guy these days? What if we just had like a parody of like you go to Emerald City, and what if Emerald just kind of like like a robot chicken gag? What if Emerald just like, hey, welcome to Emerald City? It's like advertising. You want a brain? Bam! There you go. A brain-related dish, or like brand-related dish. I don't know.
Oh God!
Want some courage? Bam! There you go. You have the courage to eat this spicy dish. Look at this. You want some heartburn? Bam!
Oh God! All right.
Anyway, you get the idea.
All right, I'm dying, Dragon. I'm dying.
Okay, speaking of which, we have like the improvised catchphrases suggested for Roy Choi, which are like, "Eat this," and put that on a biscuit. Put that in a biscuit.
Oh God.
Oh good. Oh, by the way, the lemon. Okay, so Roy Choi, he makes home mayo. It's homemade mayo. Get it? So anyway, so yeah, makes some mayo for Ed, mayonnaise, and for like, by the way, Ned's first cooking segment, which is really huge, by the way. First, like every talk show has a cooking segment. We gave it to Ned for the first time. That's really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the whole he cuts a lemon, and we panic because one of my favorite gags in Earth to Ned is this Daniel Day lemon. I was like, it's like, where did you get that lemon? It's like, no, Daniel Day's at the spot.
They brought that back. That was good continuity.
Oh, it was wonderful. And then, okay, so anyways, the point being, he makes some homemade, mayonnaise, which is yellow, which I never expected, but there you go. Anyways, then we have like the advertising for the Claude's restaurant, the Glark Trough, I think, which has like a mayonnaise bar, like flannel shirts and democracy and dread. It's it's hilarious. The health code violations instantly, so it's closed, which is funny. Then we get to my favorite part of the episode. We get to Brenda Song, man. I love Brenda
I
Song.
really like Brenda Song. Mostly I know her from The Social Network.
Keep forgetting. Oh yeah, she is in it.
Yeah, she's in it.
Yeah.
She doesn't play a very flattering role in it, but she's there.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because I saw her pop up in. Do you remember that show Dads with the very briefly like one season show Dads with Seth Green?
Can't say that I do, Dragon.
Well, the point being, it's that obscure. Last time she popped up in something, but Brenda's song, of course, very well known for "Sweet Life" of Zack and Cody. She's so darn nice, man. I love her story about the grandma taking her to modeling after she makes a deal with the mother. I like that she's acknowledging the scam artistry in the acting business. Like she's not going into explicit details, but she's saying, yeah, we went there, but it wasn't what it was supposed to be. But again, things worked out in the end. And she got a pizza commercial.
Sure. And that's very interesting because, of course, she was on a. Oh, I'm sorry. She wasn't on a Dan Schneider show. She was on a Nickelodeon show. Thank God she wasn't on a Dan Schneider show.
Goodness. So eventually, she ended up on a pizza commercial, which ties into the food of it all, which is nice.
Yeah.
Tiki. I love this. Is my favorite talk show. This is the best game they've ever done on Earth to Net. Okay, all the fun games they've done because I watch all the time the clips from the James Corden show where he's doing this segment called "Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts," where basically it's the same premise, only a lot grosser. Where you pick a gross food item for the other person to eat if they choose not to answer your question. So what we've done here is the far better, more awesome version of it, where again it's foods that are gross to Ned, which are delicious foods like cake and donuts. I don't have a good reason why, but I love Brenda's song "Eating a Donut," man. I don't know why. It's nice. They're bonding. It's food. Basically, the big lesson Ned takes away from all this is that food is bonding. It's food's about the meals you share it with. It's quite nice. It's a good episode.
All right, that brings us to episode 18, Cybernetics. Ooh, we're an hour in. We need to hurry this up.
Oh, we're almost there.
Okay,
this is the technical difficulties episode as we kind of talk the future of science and everything. So basically the premise of this one is that after this hilarious pizzas argument, where basically the argument is if you add two Z's to the end of pizzas, does it become pizzazz? Or are you just saying pizzas? Some ridiculous thing. He's getting this ridiculous argument with Betty. And she's just shouting at him, and she goes offline. So I have to boot up 8-Bit Betty, which is like grandma.
8-Bit Betty is pretty amazing. I don't think we do a ton with Betty overall as a character, but this is definitely the most fun we have with her.
Oh yeah. So basically, these hilarious non sequiturs that are just kind of insane and funny.
I only watch movies with whistles in them.
So then we bring in our guest, and the really fun thing, again, with the technical difficulty, we change up the set really fun. We have all this blue ooze and everything. The idea is that Betty cleans up the ooze 24/7 on the ship as like a program. So, Ned, he says, "No, I don't ooze. Cornelius, you ooze."
It's very clearly Ned.
All sorts of blue gunk all over the set, and people are beaming in the wrong places. Like Maya Bialik's beamed right in front of Ned's face, ah! Which is great, and I just love how apologetic they are to Mayim. And of course, Mayim Bialik from The Big Bang Theory, but also she'd been in Blossom, and she had done voices on the Disney Channel before, so it's a fun get for her. And a real life scientist. She's a neuroscientist in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She did the little hosting gig on that show I told you about. The Celebrity Show Off, the thing where Kevin Smith did a sitcom.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's it's kind of a little informative. She had 2 kids while she's in college. It's kind of nice to know about that. Anyway, so the point being, Mayim Bialik, she's having a good time. Is the point? She's having a great time just reacting. They always get a fresh reaction from her. Then we have old age Cornelius Tiki.
God.
Again, but we see him grow older.
Yes, and this is just I just love how just dramatic it is when he comes back, and he's just like, what have I done with my life? We've lost so many good men. He is just he's processing so much trauma.
Yeah, and we have this gag where he's like, hey, okay, I'll introduce the next guest with you. No, I have to do this, or else it was all for nothing.
It would have been for nothing.
Just hilarious. And of course, this Cornelius is getting so old, just waiting in a queue. Which I've only had to wait in one like online queue once. And the wait in online queue for the end game tickets, which is murder. It was a
Oh.
nightmare. So I absolutely relate to this. But anyway, of course, always remember the other option other than human. We have this amazing looking puppet of this giant grim
Yes,
cybernetic
yes, yes.
grim the Omni Galactic Thought Wanderer, which is oh my
I was
god,
hoping that that was going to be a tease of like the scale that Ned's father was going to be.
it might be. I don't know, man. It could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so then we get Margaret Cho, who's a comedian, Korean comic. She before Fresh Off the Boat was a thing. She had the first the first Asian TV show.
Hmm.
Yeah. So she's I gotta tell you, she was unlike her stand up at all. Like she was rather kind of reserved, which is kind of funny. Kind of seeing her done up all classy and everything. It's kind of refreshing. Yeah, not a whole lot there. She's later kind of talking about like the future things like frying like Cornelius fried half of his like a hemisphere of his butt off with a jetpack once, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm just going to state for the record that it's kind of hard to podcast about talk shows just in general because, it's just like, hey, yeah, they have a good rapport with each other. They have a nice chat. There's like just inherently in the podcast format, it doesn't make for the most stirring conversation. It's not
Well,
WandaVision. There's not a lot to dissect.
right. Well, the big thing we can talk about before we move on is Betty returns. So Betty
Uh,
returns, and we learned that 8-bit Betty passed away peacefully in her sleep.
God.
It's really dark. But we have this sweet little kind of basically Ned does these mission logs at the end of every episode, very Mork and Mindy style, where Mork's reporting to Orson at the end of every episode. So in this case, he's doing mission report, and we have this sweet little moment where Betty says she kind of missed the ship, which is oh. And remember that really nice kind of almost like a Mean Joe Green Coke and a smile moment, like my little buddy moment where Cornelia's like, "What happened to you? I was waiting in a queue forever." It's just, "Oh, let me." And she fixes like a little snap of fingers practically. She makes him young again. Like that was nice. Like her saying like, let me stay here for a minute. Let me clean you up. Right, that brings us to episode 19, penultimate.
All right. I don't know. This one was okay. I didn't really think it was great.
I like what the episode's about, but I think it kind of became a little one note. It's not the worst thing. It's basically this episode.
I had that same feeling.
It's an absurdist empty nest syndrome episode. Where basically we're using Molly Ringwald and Chris Kofer. I think it's Kofer. Anyway, Kofer. We're using these two guys. These two represent. They represent kind of like the parents' experience,
Right.
and kind of the young upstarts experience with Chris Colfer. As in, like, a Claude has the ship's alarm goes off, and initially there's like a huge panic of like, not here, not now, not with Ned, which of course ticks Ned off. Not with Ned, different Ned. Anyway, so the point being, Zupenzalid, one of the Claudes, he has escaped to kind of go up to the surface and kind of do stuff on the Earth, which kind of leaves Ned wondering, like, what did he do wrong? He's kind of the parent in this situation. So we kind of take an 80s icon. We have this running, basically we use 80s icon to get this running gag. We keep playing this kind of Breakfast Club music when Ned's kind of like, dramatically pondering. Like, did I do something wrong? Which is pretty funny. I really like Molly Ringwald, by the way. In Riverdale, I like the older Molly Ringwald, which is kind of older for here. And I like that she's friends with Betty. It's kind of nice. Not a whole lot too. She gives really nice kind of a nice PSA of advice here, of like like parents should listen to their kids, which is good advice. We find the Claude.
Yeah, this was probably the funniest bit of the episode. Just how cold this agent is.
Yes. I think she's a singer. I'm not sure. I think it's Grace Vanderwall is her name.
Yeah.
And we have this kind of beautiful, like they would like he's like he's a little Claude, he's a little guy, he's like 9, sorry, puberty, 12. He shouldn't be here. And it's just like, hey, he's got talent. He can stick it out here. And of course, as they make the heartfelt goodbye, like, let me give you a sweater. Los Angeles. Basically the Claude saying it's Los Angeles. Right? It's always spring in Los Angeles. So
and then Grace is just like, can you go now?
Yeah, sure. Really funny. Also, we had like the little kind of the Claude's health class video, which is kind of funny too. The whole Ned acronym, it's kind of funny. Anyways, then we have Chris Colfer. This guy's from Glee. He basically represents kind of the young dreamers leaving the nest. Very polite.
I kind of like his energy. He's down with it. He's very positive, so I appreciate that. I just don't really have a frame of reference for him because
Well, neither do I. I'm just
now
saying this guy.
remind me, Dragon, remind me, Cameron Monaghan, did he come from Glee?
No, Cameron Monaghan, to my knowledge, came from Shameless. That was his main
Oh,
thing.
right. Okay.
I mean, he. I don't know if he was. I don't think he was on. I mean, Grant Gustin was on Glee, and Melissa
I
Benoist.
think that's who I'm thinking of then.
Basically, the CW talent comes from Glee. Too. That's the long
Oh,
and
God.
short of it. The CW.
Fair enough.
Sometimes you'll have some gems. Sometimes, well, just pretty Canadians. So anyway, but yeah, basically the thing with this guy felt a little more kind of thrown into it. Like I felt. I'm not saying he was not like down to clown, but I'm saying I feel he was. Out of all the guests, he seemed the most reactionary. He didn't really know what to say, but he's just kind of going with it. But again, he's a writer, writes like the Land of Stories, young adults novel, which is kind of cool, and again ties into the theme of the episode. Anyway, so the point being is like if you love someone, you let them go, being the moral, which is nicely conveyed. So, and also I love we point that you have plenty of Claudes. Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you're right. I do have plenty of Claudes. Too many. I want to take one with you. So yeah.
All right, and finally, like father, like Ned.
Big one.
Yeah, I love the momentum of this episode, how it's like Ned is like trying to put on the show, but obviously there's bigger things happening. I like it's a great kind of like break in the format.
Yes. I mean, again, you felt at the start. We literally said this is like the last show. It's gonna be the most important show ever. And I got to convince Admiral Daddy, who's about to arrive. And again, I've been waiting this whole half season. Like I've been waiting for Admiral Daddy to arrive, man. It's like, oh god! And again, I was really checking the time. Like, oh please let him show up. Let him show up. I was still not realizing there's no way they could have built him by now. Anyway, so it's basically a countdown till Daddy shows up. Anyway, so then basically Ned's arc through the majority of this is Ned's showing kind of an ugly side of selfishness here, but in all fairness, due to a lot of stress with his father about to show up. And again, the whole what's he going to do? Is he going to destroy the planet, sacrifice who he is, or is he going to conform to who his father wants him to be? Good arc.
Yeah, so we start with Jason Ritter, who I think was a fantastic guest just based on the theme alone.
Yeah, I really like Jason Ritter. Tiki, I told you about this show. And he's on a show called Raising Dion on Netflix. It's like
yes, I've heard you mention this show several times.
Yeah,
yes.
He's really good in that show, man. He's like one of the MVPs on that season. Anyway, point being, Jason Ritter, of course, also comes from a celebrity background, kind of like Oliver Hudson, where he comes from one of the most famous and nice guys in Hollywood.
Reminds me of that, but I think that it fits into the episode way better than Oliver Hudson does.
Well, again, given the stakes of it all, sure, yeah. Basically, kind of conveys the moral of it's time to stand up to Daddy.
I'm trying to make a "Don't wake Daddy" joke, but
I know. I was wondering. But also, it's really nice though finding out that I had no idea about this. That Jason Ritter, he's become a father and he has a little daughter. And I thought, like a little cow story, like a little cow sound. And Cornelius like, "Where's the cow?" Like, no, there's no cow, Cornelius. Just
God.
So what really got me too in this interview is that Ned. I had such sympathy for Ned with Jason Ritter, where you see him Jason Ritter's reflecting fondly on his father, and you see Ned just kind of sad, like, "Oh, I wish I had that relationship with my father." Wonderful emotions conveyed in the performance within all the comedy, And speaking of that, what's going on the flip side with Cornelius?
Yeah. He just essentially just finds a new family.
Yeah, Keith's family. We don't know his last name. This is Keith's family, man. Yeah, but we had this really Ned again. Ned really let Cornelius have it this episode. The whole it's about me. I have family. Okay. And he completely forgot about Cornassus, which is the planet that was destroyed with all Cornelius' friends and family on it. But I gotta tell you, how nice were Keith's family?
Yeah, pretty nice.
Yep, and again, I remember you know what I thought was going to happen? I love the subversion. Cornelius is called in for the picture. Hey, buddy, come in for the picture. And I would have bet you all of King Midas's silver. The minute the shutter was about to click, he would have been beamed out of there. But no, we let him get the picture in. Like, oh, they let him stay. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, all right, so Betty's the devil on Ned's shoulder here, telling him to push the button, blow up Chicago. Let's put a hole
Yeah,
in
that was an
Chicago.
interesting twist that Betty, like by all intents and purposes, kind of turned out to be the villain at the end of at the 11th hour.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. Again, she wants to get the mission done, man. She thinks the
Uh,
talk show's silly. I mean, it kind of makes sense. And Claude,
it does make sense. It does track with her character. Like we never really thought of her as the antagonist per se. Like if anything, she was just kind of like grumpy this whole time. But no, it really does track.
yeah. So a Claude actually saves the day. A Claude pushes the button to beam a mystery guest in. This mystery guest was
Yeah, I have no idea who this person is, but I feel like the vibe was really good to be like a last, like a final guest who has a lot of wisdom to share with Ned in terms of like this very, very complex situation that he finds himself in.
Yeah. Also, before we go any further, we have comments about Bryn the Song. We kind of missed it. She also play Wendy Wu. She's on the Owl House, apparently, plays Amphibia,
Yeah.
I think. Anyway, sorry. That might have been about somebody else earlier, but anyway. But yeah, Tig Notaro, basically she's a comedian who is a breast cancer survivor. That's kind of her whole shtick, and I basically kind of has a non-conformist streak, which kind of relates to the Ned situation. I love like the bit where she offers to hold Ned's hand, which is really nice, and like we just see how desperate and kind of down in the dumps. Like I feel so bad for Ned here as he's spiraling. How do we play a game? Let's play. Dad, love me for who I am, Dad. I'm just kidding. There's no games. Paul Rudd doing some hilarious sad improv, which is really funny.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so that Ned makes a big plea to spare the Earth. Not Ben Schwartz though, vaporize that guy, and we have a big cliffhanger, which is the big ship's coming. Which again, we're gonna again like oh god, Daddy's here, man. Like we know who Daddy is. Yeah, so we got a lot of dread, a lot of scale. We break the show format, man. We're not in the ship for a change. We're
Yeah,
seeing the
yeah, yeah,
outside
yeah. That
world.
was unexpected.
Yeah.
Dragon Eye. I'm sorry. I'm just I'm just kind of like in like I'm looking at the time and I just think that this is going a little bit over long.
Well,
But
it's not like we're at the very end or anything.
yeah, I know. Let's wrap it up. Final thoughts on my end. I think the show's great. I don't love it per se. Like obviously, I really think that is something to podcast about. I really think it leaves something to be desired, which is not the show's fault by all means. It's the fault of the format. But I'm just saying, man, like after 10 episodes of talking about this show, I'm a little burned out of like, yeah, that was a really nice interaction and that was very pleasant and that was a cool concept. Like I don't know. I just don't have like it's kind of like wearing me thin, kind of like talking about like the same sort of ideas over and over with this show. But like as we already established with our thoughts on season one, I do think the puppet animation on Ned himself is just fucking spectacular. It's genuinely one of the best looking puppets I've ever seen on anything. Just the way it moves, how expressive it is. I think they weave the guests into the themes of the episodes quite nicely for the most part, though there are a couple duds. Overall, I like the show quite a bit. Like honestly, with the cliffhanger of it all, like if we didn't get a second season, I wouldn't really mind all that much, just because, like I said, I do think the show it's a little bit on the repetitive side. I don't need to see 20 more episodes of it, but I am interested to see like how they would alter the format if they did go for a second season. So, if they want to try something really crazy with the format, that I'm down for it. But I don't know, Dragon. Like I said, I think at the end of the day, for me, it's a very admirable show, especially for fans of the Henson Company. I just think the actual kind of structure of the episodes got a little stale for me after 20 episodes.
Get rid of the banner.
Oh, right, right.
Final thoughts from me. I mean, look, I was really looking forward to seeing the Admiral. Obviously, I didn't get that, so I should be peeved. But I had a good time getting there. And again, I wish we saw him in this last episode. One, given the title. Two, given the fact that just given the Disney's current treatment of the of kind of the Henson brand. I mean, they're bringing it on, which is a good sign, though. They're putting stuff on there now, which is a great sign. But given the whole Muppets now, I mean, my confidence isn't complete in the advertising. This is like, hey, we're gonna no question we're gonna get a second season, man. I mean, we got to. It's a cliffhanger, but I would have liked maybe a little bit more resolution given that fact. But I mean, look, I like that we're continuing to celebrate sort of the educational aspect of the Henson shows. I mean, outside the Muppets, like kind of a little bit of your Fraggles in there, a little bit of bit of this, a little bit of dinosaurs, a little bit of it has like fun comedic potential within the improv and the celebrity guest star staple. It's not. I gotta tell you, honestly, it is my go-to talk show these days, given we're kind of in a dry spell, especially right now. I'd happily go to Earth to Ned. I hope we do. I really do hope we get more of this. Personally, I'll admit though, going forward though, if they shrunk it to 10 episodes per season, that would probably be the smarter route to go. I mean, let's be honest.
I think that would also be the smarter route to go. I really think that it could have just been 2 seasons,
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean,
Um,
sure.
but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, again, given the Muppet resurgence of late, I think so far this is still the more impressive product. Let's be honest. So, I mean, let's keep the Henson stuff alive with more often. And I also just to keep it out there, more new Henson shows too. I'll take that as well. Let's get some more of
I
that.
would absolutely take that. Yes.
So just throwing it out there. But again, I at least want like at least one more episode so we know what happens with Admiral Daddy or something like a special. I don't know. I want to know I want to see it. Darn it.
Sure. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that'll do it for us this week as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mano y mano. Just plus and us.
Who the gloat is Keith?
I only watch movies with whistles in them.
And Schwartz?